to today's Friday happy hour. This is the last math happy hour workshop for this semester. We're going to cover the final exam review. Okay, so these are the topics that I will be covering at the moment. They're linear equations, quadratic equations, applications on linear and quadratic functions, exponential functions, applications on exponential functions, solving exponential problems, financial applications, solving systems of equation, matrices, sets and Venn diagrams, probabilities, and permutations and combinations. I'm going to choose topics from every section or points from every section. This way, you guys can get ready for the exam. I believe most instructors give, similar topics for the final exam. Okay, number one is find the equation of the line passing through negative 2, 5 and negative 4, 6. So here's the solution. We need to put the equation in slope-intercept form, which is y equals to mx plus b. I need to find two variables here, which is the m and the y-intercept, which is a b. Okay, when they give you 2 points, they don't give you the slope, so I need to find my slope first. So my slope is equal to m equals to y sub 2 minus y sub 1 divided by x sub 2 minus x sub 1. Okay, and the y-intercept is my b. B equals to y minus mx. That's what we solve for b. So I need to find for m, and I need to solve for b. Okay. So with the points that are given, the negative 2, 5 and negative 4, 6, I'm going to call the negative 2, 5 my first point. Okay. So here my x1 is negative 2, my y1 is 5, and my x2 is negative 4, and my y2 is positive 6. So let's plug it into the formula. Right, so it'll be 6 minus 5, because it's y2 minus y1, divided by x2, which is negative 4, minus negative 2. So it's going to give us 1 over negative 2. So it's going to give us negative 1/2 is my slope. Now I need to find my b. So here I can choose either point. It doesn't matter. You get the same result for b. So since point negative 2, 5 is my first point, I'm going to use that point. Okay, so b equals to y minus mx. My y is 5, my x is negative 2, and my slope is, what we just saw, is negative 1/2. So let's plug him into the formula, right? So 5 minus 1/2. This is supposed to be a negative here, guys. My mistake. This is supposed to be negative 1/2, okay, times negative 2. So it's going to give us 5 minus, if this is negative, right, this will be positive 1, and 5 minus 1 is 4. Again, my mistake, the 1/2 is supposed to be negative. So my b is 4. So this is my equation in slope-intercept form. Y equals to negative 1/2 x plus 4. You see, this is my m, and this is my b, and I just solve for both. So again, this is my equation that we're looking for. Okay, number 2. Find the difference quotient of f of x equals to x squared minus x plus 4. This particular problem, if you're going to be taking the next math course, which follows the 1324, you'll be using this example in the next math course, which is a 1325. This is called the difference quotient. Okay. So solution, I need to find f of x plus h. Right, so that's my first thing, right? Because we already know what the f of x is. F of x is x squared minus x plus 4. So for the formula, I need to find f of x plus h, which means I'm going to plug in x plus h for every x on the original function. Right, that's my original function. So I'm going to plug in x plus h for every x. You see, so I'm going to plug it in here, right, for the x there, and here for the x, and we're going to simplify. Okay, now here on the side, I'm gonna simplify x plus h squared. So x plus h squared is x plus h times x plus h. So if we do the FOIL, which is the first term times the first term is x squared, the x times the h, which is xh, And now the h times the x will also give you xh or hx, it doesn't matter because we're multiplying. And h times h is h squared. Always the two in the middle terms, they can be combined. This gives us x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. So the x plus h squared is x squared plus 2xh plus h squared. Now, this will give us negative x plus h plus 4. Now, we're going to distribute the negative sign here. This negative will make the x negative, and will make the h, which is positive, also negative. Okay? So this is my f of x plus h. Now, the second step is minus f of x. So again, this is my f of x plus h minus f of x, which is x squared minus x plus 4. So this will be x squared plus 2xh plus h squared minus x minus h plus 4. And then with a minus here, it means that I got to distribute the negative for every term on the f of x. So negative times positive will give you a negative x squared. Negative times negative x will give us a positive x. And negative times a positive 4 will give us a negative 4. Okay, now, here's where I tell my students, okay, like a hint, see if they did the algebra part correct. Every term that doesn't have an h has to be eliminated. For example, does x squared have an h in the term? No, it doesn't. So somewhere there has to be a negative x squared. You see, so we cancel the x squared with a negative x squared. Does the 2xh have an h? Yes, so it's going to stay. Does the h have an h? Yes, it's going to stay. Does the x have an h? No, it doesn't. So somewhere there's going to be a positive x, and here it is here on the second to the last term. Now the h, does this term have an h? Yes, it does. So it stays. Does a 4 have an h in this term? No, it doesn't. So somewhere there's going to be a negative 4. So it cancels with the last term here. So what's left is all the terms that have an h on the term. That's what's left. Okay, now I'm going to factor out an h. Why do I do that? Because this h will cancel with the h on the denominator on the formula. Okay, you see, so this is step 3. And I believe this is the way they show you like this on these 3 particular steps when you actually take the 1325 class, which is the one that follows this one. So here, right, so the third step, the h is canceled, so I'm left with 2x plus h minus 1. So that's, let me go back, that's your solution, 2x plus h minus 1. Okay. Now let's do number 3. Number 3 says, the manufacturer's suggested retail price, which is called the MSRP, for a base model 2016 Toyota Prius is $25,035. And it is expected to be worth $14,115 in 4 years. So here they want us to find A, B, and C. A is find a linear depreciation function for this car. And B, estimate the value of the car in 5 years from now. And C, at what rate is the car depreciating? Okay. So how do we start here, guys? Solution. We need to find 2 points. Okay. We need to find 2 points. So when the car is brand new, right? This was I believe this problem came in 2016. That's why the car was brand new. But maybe next time I'll just switch the date to the current date, which is 2022. This way it'll make a little bit more sense. But when the car is brand new, right? X equals to 0 because there's no miles on it. So X equals to 0 because no time has passed. So the original price, which is the $25,035, is going to be the Y. Right? So that's my first point. X1, Y1 will be 0, and the price of the car when it's brand new. Now, we're going to take the last part of the sentence here, and it is expected to be worth $14,115 in 4 years. So in 4 years, the car is worth $4,115. So the X is 4, and the Y is the money, which is $14,115. So that's my second point. Okay. Now I need to find the slope and the y-intercept, which is my m and my b. So the slope is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so this is my y2. So y2 minus y1 will give us 14,115 minus 25,035. And the x2 minus x1 is 4 minus 0. Okay, so this is what it gives us. So once we evaluate that, it's going to give us negative 2,730. So that's my slope. Now the b is equal to y minus mx. So here, guys, we can use either point, but let's use a one that's easier, right? Because the first point has a 0, it'll be easier to do the math. So my y is 25,035, my x is 0, and my slope is what we just found out was negative 2,730. We plug it into the formula, right? So it's going to give us b is equal to 25,035. So now my equation, right, my slope was negative 2,730. And my b is 25,035. We plug it into the formula. So this is my equation for part A. That's my linear depreciation function for this car. Okay. Now for part B, estimate the value of the car in 5 years from now. So here, what we're going to be doing for part B is evaluating the function at 5, when x equals 5. Okay. So what we do is plug in 5 for every x on the function, which I'm going to plug it in here where the x is, which will be negative 2,730 times 5 plus 25,035. So in 5 years, this is how much the car will be worth, because it's depreciating at the value of $2,730 every year. So the answer for B is the car will be worth $11,385 in 5 years. Now for part C is what is a rate, at what rate is a car depreciating? That's your slope. So the car is depreciating, what is my slope? But you're not going to put negative, right? Because depreciating means negative. A lot of students make the mistake here that they put negative 2,730, which is wrong, because the word depreciating, it means negative. So you don't have to put the negative sign, okay? But the answer for C is $2,730 per year. That's how much it's depreciating. This is number 3 on the exam review. Okay, now number 4. And again, I'm picking like topics out of every chapter. And most of these, if you take another math class, you're probably going to see them again. Okay, that's why I try to assign some problems that students will more likely see again if they take another math class. So number 4, you have x squared plus 10x plus 9. I want you to find the vertex, axial symmetry, y-intercept, and x-intercept of the function. Okay, so solution. If the function is given in this form, in ax squared plus bx plus c, then this is what you got to do. The vertex will be negative b over 2a, and f of negative b over 2a. This formula here might seem kind of challenging or confusing, but it's not that complicated. This means that this is how you find the x part of the vertex, negative b over 2a, and the a and b, and you get them from here. You see, for example, the a will be 1 and the b will be 10. Okay. Now the axial symmetry is equal to x equals to negative b over 2a. So if you notice, once you find the vertex, you already found also the axial symmetry. Then for the y-intercept, this is kind of visual. What I mean by this, without doing no work, you should always know what the y-intercept is if the function is given in this form, ax squared plus bx plus c. The y-intercept is always a constant or the term that doesn't have a variable, right? That's my c. Now for the x-intercept, you're gonna have to factor or use a quadratic formula, okay? Now let's begin. So this is what you gotta know, okay? How to find the vertex, the axial symmetry, y-intercept, and the x-intercept. So here, my a is 1 and my b is 10. So negative b over 2a is equal to negative 10 over 2 times 1, because my b is 10 and my a is 1, so it will give us negative 5. Now, for the y part of the vertex, right, because the vertex is a point, it has an x and a y. For the y part, I'm going to find f of negative 5. That's what that means here. F of negative b over 2a, it just means that once you find the x value, all you do is plug it back to the original equation to find your y value. Okay, so I'm going to plug him in for the x on the x squared and also on the 10x. So it will give us, the answer will be negative 16. Why negative 16? Because negative 5 squared is 25. 10 times negative 5 will give us negative 50. So 25 minus 50 will give us negative 25. And then if you add 9, it will give us negative 16. So this is my vertex. Negative 5, negative 16. Okay, now once I find my vertex, I also found the axial symmetry, which is the x part of the vertex, which is x equals to negative 5. At times, some questions might ask you to find the maximum or minimum value. For this particular question, they weren't asking for that, but the minimum or maximum value will always be the y part of the vertex. Okay. Now for the y-intercept, right, that's very visual, which will just be by 9. C equals to 9. So that's my y-intercept. And you write it as 0, 9 because it's a point. Now, for the x-intercepts, we have to factor, which means I'm going to let the f of x or the y equal to 0. And all we do is factor. Okay. I believe I did a workshop on factoring like the third week of the semester. If you guys don't know how to factor, go back and watch that PowerPoint. But this is how you factor x squared plus 10x plus 9. Then we use the zero property theorem, which means that x plus 9 must equal 0 or x plus 1 must equal 0, right? And all we do is solve for x. So x equals to negative 9 because we subtracted 9 to both sides. And here x equals to negative 1 because we subtracted 1 from both sides. So these are my x-intercepts. At times, if you're using my math lab, the platform for the homework, at times, be careful how they ask for the answer. At times, you can actually put x equals to negative 9, comma, negative 1. But at times, it wants the actual point. If they want the actual point, it's going to be negative 9, 0 and negative 1, 0. Okay, then how do you know when they want just the x values or the point? On my math lab, at times it gives you parentheses and then you have to fill in the blank. If they give you the parentheses, it means that they want the actual point. Okay, so be careful with how you answer this particular problem with the x-intercepts on your my math lab. Okay, now I'm going to do another way to get to find the vertex. To find the same thing, the vertex, axial symmetry, y-intercepts, and x-intercepts. But now the formation is going to be in a different form. Okay. For example, now this is called. This is going to be in the form f of x equals to a, x minus a squared plus k. I believe on this textbook for 1324, they just call it the rule. But some other books call this the vertex form or standard form. It all depends on the author. Okay, now if it's in this form, there's two things that are visual, which is my vertex. My vertex is just hk. And also my axial symmetry will be the x part of the vertex, which would be x equals to h. Now for the y-intercept and the x-intercept, you're going to have to work them out. Okay, but this is how you do it. To find the y-intercept, you let x equals 0 and solve for y. And to find the x-intercepts, you let x equals 0. You let y equals 0 and solve for x. Okay, so let's execute. To find the vertex, the axial symmetry, y-intercept, and x-intercept. Okay, now if you notice, the h is negative here, right? So if the h is negative here, it's going to be positive here. It's going to be the opposite of what's here because if h is negative here, right? The h is positive here. So it's always the opposite. So my h is negative 3 and the y is how it is, which is the k value. So this is my vertex, negative 3, comma, negative 16. So just by observing, right, the function, you should know what the vertex is. Once you get the vertex, the axial symmetry is just the x part of the vertex, but it's going to be a line, right? Because it's the axial symmetry. So you're going to put x equals to -3. Okay, that's my vertex, right? So that's my axial symmetry. The mistake that students make is that they just put the value, they don't put x equals. You have to put x equals because that's the axial symmetry. It's a line, okay? Now to find the y-intercept, the g of x, right, is the same thing as y. So it says to let x equals to 0. So I'm going to put 0 there for the x, right? So this will give us 0 plus 3 will give us just 3 squared. So this will give us 9 minus 16. So y equals to -7. So the y-intercept will be 0, -7. Now, for the x-intercept, right, we're going to let y equal 0. The g of x is the same thing as y, right? So equals 0. So here, guys, the first thing I'm going to do, I have to solve for x. So I'm going to add 16 to both sides. Then I'm going to take the square root of both sides. Right? I just put this over here on this side, guys, because it's easier to solve for x, because most of the times they want the x on the left side. So if you take the root of x plus 3 squared, right, the square root will cancel the square. So the square root of 16 will give us 4, but it'll be plus or minus 4. So the next step, I'm going to subtract 3 to both sides. Okay, so I get x equals to -3 plus or minus 4. Here's where you're going to have two intercepts. It's going to be -3 plus 4 and -3 minus -4. So -3 plus 4 will give us 1, and -3 minus 4 will give us -7. So these are your x-intercepts, -7, 0, and 1, 0. So let's move on to number 6. Here's how you relate these quadratic functions in like a real life situation, okay? This is number 6. The revenue for McDonald's Corporation is in billions of dollars for the years 2015. Again, this is supposed to be 2010 to 2015. Okay, I did like a typo there. Again, this should be from 2010 to 2015. Can be approximated by the quadratic function r of x equals to -1/2 x squared plus 13x minus 57. You see, again, guys, this is supposed to be 2010, where x equals 10 corresponds to the year 2010. So for the first part, they want you to find the vertex. For the second part, it's asking in what year during this period was the revenue at a maximum. And finally, for C, what was the maximum revenue? Okay, now, guys, so hint. Hey, guys, once we find the vertex, I found also the answer for parts B and part C. The x part of the vertex will be the answer for part B. And the y part of the vertex will be the answer for C. Okay? Let me show you how it's done. So again, my A will be -1/2, and my B will be 13. So plug them into the formula. Negative B over 2A will give us -13 divided by 2 times -0.5, because -1/2 is -0.5. This will give us 13. Okay? Now we find r of 13, right? Which we're going to plug in 13 to the original function. So 13 is going to go where the x is, for the x squared, and also for the x where the 13x is. Now we put in the calculator, guys, so we're going to get 27.5. So this is my vertex, 13, comma 27.5. Okay, now, right, that's the answer for A. Now the answer for B, right, but it's going to be 13. But let's go back at the condition that they're asking here. It says where 10, x equals 10 corresponds to the year 2010. So 13 corresponds to the year 2013. Right, so the answer will be 2013. If you put 13 on the homework for my math lab, it's going to come around. You have to put the date because it's asking in what year. So it's 2013. And for C part, right, they want you to round off to the nearest $1 billion. So in 2013, the revenue was at a maximum at, right, 27.5, but they want you to round off to the nearest billion, which would be $28 billion. So this is how you work word problems. Okay. So let's move on to number 7. Solve the exponential equation. Okay, let's see what they give us. 9x equals to 27. Okay, now guys, here is where you have to make it the same base, right? There was a formula that I believe this was covered in week number 6, I believe. Okay, where you solve exponential equations. So to apply the rule, these must be the same base, right? So 9 squared. So you always go with the smallest base, and if you square it, see if it gives you the other base. The other number on the right side. So 9 squared equals to 81, right? It does not equal 27, which means that you have to find the common base. Which means there has to be a common base with 9 and 27, which will give us 3, right? Because 9 is equal to 3 squared, and 27 is equal to 3 cubed. So now I'm going to replace the 9 with 3 squared, and I will just bring down the x, equals the 27, I'm going to replace it with 3 cubed. Okay. Now here I'm going to apply the power, the exponent power rule, which means when you have a power to a power, you multiply the powers. So 2 times that will give us 2x equals to 3 cubed. Now, since you have the same base, right, then you apply the rule. When you have the same base, then the exponents must equal to each other. Okay, so how we do is solve for x. Divide by 2 both sides, so x equal to 3 over 2. Now, the good thing about these types of problems is that you can always check your answer. Okay, so I'm going to plug in 3 halves for x. Now you can plug in the calculator how it is, and just it will be 27. Okay, so this one, so I know that's the correct answer. Okay, now how do you plug this into the calculator? It depends on what type of calculator you have. Most of the times, it's wise to put parentheses for the exponent because it's a fraction. This way, you eliminate some of the mistakes, because if you put 9 to the 3 divided by 2, at times, some types of calculator will give you 9 to the 3rd power, and then you divide the whole thing by 2, which is not correct. That's why be careful how you plug it in. So you're going to put 9, right, parentheses, 3 divided by 2, close parentheses. This way, it'll guarantee that you get the right answer. And again, it all depends on the type of calculator that you're using. So now number 8. How do we use exponential equations or functions in real life? This is an example. The assets in billions of dollars for the Prudential Financial Incorporated can be approximated by the function a of x equals to 315 e to the 0.05x, where x equals 7 corresponds to the year 2007. Find the assets for the following years, 2000 and 2012. So what's my solution? Hey guys, if x equals 7 corresponds to the year 2007, so then x equals 0 must correspond to the year 2000. And x equals 12 corresponds to the year 2012. So for part A, I'm going to plug in 0 for x, or I'm going to evaluate a of 0. So all that means is I'm going to plug in 0 for the x. So the answer will be 315, because any base to the 0 power will give you 1. So the answer is 315. And since it's in billions of dollars, it's going to be 315 billion. For part B, right? So again, here, good to know, the initial value is when there's no time has passed. The initial value will always be, the 315 here, guys, because if no time has passed, the x will be 0. And I believe I could have used this example, something like this, when I did when I was finding the initial value for the word problem in regards to the depreciation of the price of the car in 2016. I could have used that. Okay, that's only extra information. Okay, now here for the second part, for B, I'm going to find or evaluate a at 12, which means I'm going to plug in 12 for every x on the function, which is here where it says e to the 0.05x, it will be e to the 0.05 times 12. and you just put in the calculator. So make sure that you see that you put again parentheses. So this is your answer, guys. 616.817. So let's round off to one place. So the answer will be about approximately 616.8 billion. Okay. That's how you work these problems out. Number 9. Hey guys, when I was teaching this course, right when COVID had hit the U.S., I used that example to show students that math is related like in real world. I mean, it's related with us. Because at times, I mean, students might say, "Well, how does math relate to my degree or stuff like that?" And those are the students that are not going for math or engineering. They always wonder how is math used on a daily basis. So I wanted to show the students that using the example that was current at that time in 2020, I used the information that was given right in the news, how to come up with a formula. And we could predict how many cases there will be in a specific month. So let me show you how it works. It says a deadly virus has infected the world. At the end of January, there were 2 cases, and by the end of April, the cases had grown to 128. I believe, guys, there were 2 cases right in the U.S. I believe it was in Washington State, where there were 2 reported cases of the coronavirus. So then, right, so I'm going to use the situation to find a model of the form f of t equals to y naught b to the t power, with t equals 0 corresponds to the end of the month of January. And then for B part, if the trend continues, about how many people will be infected by the end of the year. Okay, so here's my solution. I need to find y naught and b. Once I find those 2 variables, I can use that formula to approximate cases in any time of the year. Okay, so y naught is called is the amount present at time equals 0, or the initial value. Okay. In this case, since t equals 0 corresponds to the end of January, right? Because it says here t equals 0 corresponds to the end of the month of January, there were 2 cases. So y naught equals 2 because there was 2 cases. So I found my first point, right? And then you continue, right? So the end of January, right, is 0. So then the end of February will be 1. The end of March will be 2. The end of April will be 3. And right, and here it says by the end of April there were had grown to 128 cases. So there were 128 cases by the end of April. So then how many months had passed? 1, 2, 3, right? So 3 months had passed, and they went from 2 to 128 cases in 3 months. So then let's use a given info to find my B. Okay, here we go. So in 3 months, right, there were 128, right? So then I'm going to plug in. I know that my y naught is 2. So then 128, right? So I'm going to plug in the 3 for the TS because that stands for time. So this is how you find the value for B. Again, from the second point, which was 3 and 128. The 128 is my value, right? Is that the f of 3 was 128. And the T is going to be 3 because 3 months had passed. Now I have to solve for B. So the first step is I'm going to divide both sides by 2. So 128 divided by 2 will give us 64. Now I'm going to raise, to solve for B, I'm going to raise a power to the 1/3 power of both sides. Because B to the 3rd power raised to the 1/3 power, remember that when you have a power to a power, you multiply the powers. So 3 times 1/3 will give us 1. You see, so B is equal to 4 because 64 to the 1/3 power will give us 4. So I found the 2 variables that I was looking for. So let's plug them into the formula. So f of t equals to 2, right? Because my y naught is 2 and my b is 4. That's my formula. Okay. Okay, now it says how many cases, right, for part B will be by the end of the year. So from January to December is 11 months. So I'm going to plug in 11 for t, or I'm going to find f of 11. You're going to be amazed how many people would have been infected if there was no intervention. So we put this in the calculator, guys. It's going to give us 8 388,608 people would have been infected. But that wasn't the case, right? I mean, here in the US, right? Because they were doing interventions by using masks, by using quarantine. This will just be, approximated that many people will be infected if there was no intervention. If we just let the virus do what it had to do, approximately this many people would have been infected. But I repeat, since it was intervention, the cases were not as many as what we got here. Anyway, this is how we use real math in the world with a certain situation. Okay. So that's the answer. The amount of people got infected if there was no intervention. Now, let's do number 10. I believe the next two problems are from chapter 5, which is a finance chapter. Here it says, Gabriel invested his summer earnings of $3,000 in a savings account for college. The account pays 1.5 simple interest. What will be the value of this account after 2 years? And how much interest did he earn? Okay, now here, guys, the key word for the formula to use is simple interest. So this is my formula for simple interest, right? It says here, and again, the key word is simple interest. Now, you need to find four things, right? The FV, which stands for future value, the PV stands for present value, the R is the interest rate, and the time is going to be in years. T stands for time in years. Okay, let me go back real quick. Sorry for pressing the mouse. So here, what are we looking for? Okay, Gabriel invests his summer earnings of $3,000 in a savings account for college. The account pays 1.5 simple interest. What will be the value of this account after 2 years? So right away, guys, this is a heads up what we're looking for. After 2 years means, right, it's going to be in the future. So we're looking for F of E, which is a future value. So then the 3,000 is the amount that Gabriel invested right now, which means the present value. So 3,000 will be the present value. And the 1.5 will be the interest rate. And here's something that you can observe. Anything that has like a percent will be your interest rate. Will be the R. But one thing that you have to know is that the interest rate must be in a decimal. You can do it two ways here. You can actually divide the 1.5 by 100, right? And then just put in the calculator, or you can move the decimal point 2 places to the left and drop the percent symbol. Okay, so either way you can do it, but some of the mistakes that students make is that they leave the interest rate at 1.5% and it's going to give you a wrong result. So please use one of the two methods. Again, you move the decimal place 2 places to the left, or you divide the 1.5 by 100 and drop the symbol. And the time has to be in years, right? So this is already in years, so we're going to put 2 for T. And now we do is plug it into the formula, right? And just put into the calculator. So the future value is 3,090. So now, right? So now you want to find how much interest did he earn, right? So for interest, I'm going to subtract the future value minus the present value to find the interest earned, or the extra money that Gabriel earned. Okay, minus 3,000, so the answer will be 90. So in other words, Gabriel got at the value of the account after 2 years will be 3,090. Okay. So the interest earned will be $90. So again, Gabriel invested 3,000, and in return he got $90 back after 2 years. Now, number 11. It says here you deposit $9,000 in an account at your bank that pays 2.5 interest semi-annually. How much money will be in your account after 10 years, and how much interest did you earn? At times, these separate problems might seem the same as the previous one, as number 10. But one thing that you notice is that it doesn't say simple interest, right? So most of the times, if it's compound interest, it's going to say compound interest. In this case, it doesn't say that either. But the fact is that it doesn't say simple interest. Well, then the interest semi-annually means it's compounded. Compounded means, for example, yearly means 1, semi-annually means 2. And I believe when I covered the workshop for that particular week, I covered what everything means, right? And I mean for the compounded, which is going to be your M. Okay, let me show you what I mean here. So the FV stands for future value, the PV stands for present value, the R stands for the interest rate, the M stands how many times is compounded per year, the T stands for time, and the I value is R divided by M, and the M will be M times T. You see, so these two formulas are the same, but the only difference is that the RM is equal to the I and the MT is equal to N. This one here, guys, is much easier to put into the calculator. Okay, so let's see what we're looking for. So here again, we're looking for the future value, right? Because it says how much money will be in your account after 10 years. So we're looking for the future value. So the present value, the amount that you invested now is 9,000. The interest rate will be 2.5%. Converted to a decimal will be 0.025. The M is how many times it's compounded. So semi-annually means twice a year. The T is going to be 10 years. Now the I, right, is going to be R, which is 0.025 divided by 2, which will give us 0.0125. And the N will be M times T, which will give us 2 times 10 will give us 20. Now all we do is plug into the formula, right? My PV is 9,000. 1 plus my I is 0.0125, and my N is equal to 20. Use a calculator, and you get your result. Run that out to the nearest penny, which will give us $11,538.34. Now, how much interest did you earn? Right, so here's what we're going to do to see how much interest. So how many payments did you make? Right, there were 20 payments. Okay, let's see here. Oh, no, well, here, that's how you find the other type of problems. I mean, here, guys, because there were no payments made, I was thinking about the problems from section 5.3 and 5.4, which is the annuity. I mean, for these type of problems, I mean, to find how much interest are you getting is the future value minus the present value, and that'll be how much interest you actually earned. Okay, which 11,538.34 minus the 9,000 that you invested. So the answer will be $2,538.34 in 10 years. Okay, let me go back. Okay, so this is how much you got after 10 years, and this is how much interest you earned. Okay, now solve by graphing. In this case, I'm going to be solving the systems of equations by graphing. So equation 1, right? So equation 1, I know that my slope is 3, so you put it as a fraction, 3 over 1, because it's a rise over the run. And my B is my y-intercept, which means, right, the B is my starting point. I'm going to start at 0, -6. So I'm going to go 0 all the way to -6, right about there. My slope is 3, right? 3, the rise will be 3, and the run will be 1. So I'm going to go up 3 from the y-intercept. So 1, 2, 3, and 1 to the right. And just connect the points. Because to do a line, you only need 2 points. But if you continue, right, in the same slope, see, right, so you start again. So 0, -6, you go up 3, 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right, 1, 2, 3, 1 to the right. If you continue, guys, it's going to be all the same slope will be on the same line. Now, for equation number 2, which is -5x minus 2y equals to -10. You can do it two ways, right? You can do it by finding the x and y intercept. But in this case, I'm gonna try to put it in slope intercept form and use the same method as equation number 1. So -5x minus 2y equals to -10 is not in proper form. So I have to solve for y. So my first step, I'm going to add 5x to both sides. So it's going to give us -2y equals to 5x minus 10. Then I'm going to divide both sides by -2. It's going to give us -5 over 2x plus 5. So now here, guys, my slope is -5 over 2. And my starting point will be my y-intercept, which is 0, 5. So I'm going to start at 0, 5. And then I'm going to go down 5 down, and 2 to the right. Okay, so let's start at 0, 5. So it's going to go up here. 0, 5. Now I'm going to go down 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 2 to the right. 1, 2. There's my point. I connect the 2 points, and there's my line. Which means that my where these 2 lines intersect will be the point where the 2 lines intersect will be 2, 0. That's my solution. Okay. And this is called a consistent independent system. Okay, now this one, I'm going to solve it by using the elimination method, another method. Okay. To solve by the elimination method, you have to put them in proper form. They both have to be in the form ax plus by equals c. If you notice, equation number 1 is not in that form. So I need to write it in proper form. So I'm going to add 2y to both sides. We get x plus 2y equals 19. So now equation 1 is in proper form. Okay, so that's equation 1, equation 2. So here I'm going to try to get rid of the x's or the y's. That's why it's called the elimination, because I'm going to eliminate the x's or the y's. A lot of students here, they ask, hey, Mr. Isasi, so what should I do? I mean, which one should I eliminate it? It's up to you guys, but in my opinion, it's easier to eliminate the x's because I only have to multiply equation 1 by negative 4, right? Because negative 4 times x will give us negative 4x. Then when I add it to 4x, they'll be eliminated. But you have to use math concepts, right, that are legit. For example, if I multiply by negative 4, I have to multiply every term by negative 4, right? Or else both sides of the equation by negative 4. So negative 4 times x will give us negative 4x. Negative 4 times 2y will give us negative 8y. And negative 4 times 19 will give us negative 76. Now equation number 2, I'll just bring it over. Right? If you notice, the x's are eliminated because negative 4x plus 4x will give us 0. Negative 8y minus 3y will give us negative 11y. And negative 76 minus 1 will give us negative 77. Now I divide both sides by negative 11. So my answer will be y equals to 7. But remember, the solution, guys, is going to be a point, okay, which has an x value and a y value. I already found the y value. Now to find the x value, you have to plug in 7 for y in either equations 1 or 2, whatever is easier for you. Again, my opinion is easier to go to number 1. Why? Because the x is already by itself, or the x is already isolated. So I'm going to plug in 7 for y and just simplify. Negative 2 times m will give us negative 14. Negative 14 plus 9 plus 19 will give us positive 5. So as my solution, 5, 7. That's the solution to problem number 13. Okay, now, how do you apply this type of problem in real life? Well, here's an example. It says, number 14, a 200-seat theater charges $8 for adults and $5 for children. If all seats were filled and the total ticket income was $1,435, how many adults and how many children were in the audience? Okay. What's my solution here? Okay, I need to find 2 equations. So here, guys, I'm going to do seats with seats and money with money. By that, I mean seats with seats. I'm going to do people with people, right? And money with money. So, for example, I'm going to let X represent adults, the adult seats, and Y represents the children's seats, right? And there were a total of 200. So X amount of adult seats plus Y amount of children's seats must equal to 200. So that's my first equation. Okay, now I'm going to do the money with money. So X, right, represents adult tickets. I mean, adult tickets are $8. And since X represents adult tickets, so this is going to be 8X. In similar fashion, the children's tickets are $5. And the children's tickets are represented by Y. So that's going to give us 5Y. And what's my total income? $1,435. So that's what we get in my second equation, which will give us 8x plus 5y equals to 1,435. Now I get to solve the system. Okay. So here, guys, I'm going to eliminate the x's. by multiplying equation 1 by negative 8. Why negative 8? Because negative 8 times x will give us negative 8x. Then when we add them, they're going to be eliminated the x's. But I repeat like before, I need to multiply negative 8 times every term of both sides of the equation. They will give us negative 8x minus 8y equals to negative 1,600, because negative 8 times 200 will give us negative 1,600. Now equation number 2, all we do is slide it over. Then we add them, right? So the x's will be eliminated. The y is negative 8y plus 5y will give us negative 3y. And negative 1,600 plus 1,435 will give us negative 165. Now we divide both sides by negative 3. So y equals to 55. Now you can go to either 1 or 2, right? To equation 1 or 2. So it's easier to go to number 1 because the numbers are very, there's no coefficients here for the x and the y. So the y value is 55. So I'm going to plug in 55 for the y is, and so for x. So now we subtract 55 from both sides of the equation. So we get x equals to 145. So x equals to 145, right? And y equals to 55. But that's not what they're asking for. They're asking how many adults and children were in the audience, right? So here we go back. Since x equals to adults, it's going to be 145 adults. Since y equals to children's seats, it's going to be 55 children in the audience. So this is my solution that they're asking for. Okay. Now this is called larger systems of linear equations. Right, so for this, right, we have 3 equations. I tell my students that there's always like a little plan here, how to solve it. I'm going to get equation 1 and equation 2 and get rid of the x's. And similar fashion, equations 1 and 3, and also get rid of the x's. Okay. So let me, and again, when I did this workshop, I show you how to execute the plan. And again, here the plan is you're going to get equations 1 and 2 and get rid of the x's. So I'm going to multiply equation 1 by negative 2. So after I multiply negative 2 times every term on equation 1, I'm going to get negative 2x plus 6y minus 4z equals 0. And then equation 2, all we do is bring it over. So we get 4y minus 3z equals 3. So this is my new equation number 2. Okay. Now similar, and now I'm going to get equation 1 and 3 and do the same thing. I'm going to get rid of the x's. So I'm going to multiply equation 1 by negative 3. Okay. Once I multiply negative 3 times every term on equation 1, it's going to give us negative 3x plus 9y minus 6z equals to 0. Equation 3, we'll just slide it over. Then we're going to add them, right? So the x will be eliminated. And 9y plus y will give us 10y. Negative 6z minus z will give us negative 7z. And 0 plus 7 will give us 7. So this is my new equation 3. Now the plan is right now we get the 2 new equations, equations 2 and 3, and get rid of the y's. Okay. And this is, guys, a lot of, I'm here, like the book might show you, or the instructors might say, find the least common multiple. And at times, students don't know how to do that because the least common multiple will be 20. Okay. But I assume that students don't know nothing this way. Whatever they know, it's going to be like extra for them. So in this case, right, I'm going to multiply equation 3 by negative 4 and equation 1 by 10. Or vice versa, negative 10 and this one by 4. Why? Because negative 10 times 4 will give us negative 40, and 4 times 10 will give us 40, and then when you add them, right, they'll be eliminated. But you need to multiply both numbers by every term on both equations. Here we get negative 40y plus 30z equals to negative 30. Here we get positive 40y minus 28z equals to 28. Right? So we get 2z equals to negative 2. We divide both sides by 2. So we get z equals to negative 1. Now I'm going to go back and use back substitution. You see, this is equation 1. Now equation 2, you can either get equation 2 or 3, right? So here I got equation 2, and now z equals to negative 1. Now I'm going to go back and back substitute. I'm going to plug in negative 1 on equation 2 for z. Okay, because z equals -1, so I'm going to plug it in there. So then we're going to simplify. So 4y plus 3 equals 3. We subtract 3 from both sides. So 4y equals to 0, we divide both sides by 4. So y equals to 0. Right? Now I have the values for z and the values for y. Now what's missing is the value for x. So now I'm going to go to equation 1 and plug in what we know, right? We know that y equals 0 and z equals -1. So I'm going to plug them in for y and for z. My y is 0, so plug in 0 for y. And my z is -1, so plug in -1 for z. This gives us x minus 2. Then we add 2 to both sides. So x equals to 2. So this is my solution. 2, 0, -1. Okay. Okay, now, now we're doing multiplying matrices. I know that I already passed my time, but I'm going to go a little bit extra, guys, because it's very important for you guys to be exposed to almost every possible problems that might be on the final. So here I'm going to do operation on matrices. So this is matrix A is -2, 0, 5, 3, and matrix B will be 0, 2, 4, -6. So for A part, they want us to find -4A. For B part, they want us to find 5B. And for C part, they want us to find -4A plus 5B. So here's where we start. So -4, I'm going to multiply times every element in matrix A. So it's going to be -4 times -2, -4 times 0, -4 times 5, and -4 times 3. That's going to give us 8, 0, -20, and -12. That's the answer for part A. For part B, right, I'm going to multiply 5 times every element in matrix B. So it's going to be 5 times 0, 5 times 2, 5 times 4, and 5 times -6. This gives us 0, 10, 20, -30. That's the answer for part B. Now for part C, all we do is add -4A plus 5B. So -4A, right, we already solved it in part A, so we'll just bring it down. And 5B, right, we already solved that in part B, so all we do is bring it down. Now we're going to add the matrices. When you add matrices, they have to be the same size. For example, this is a 2 by 2, and this is also a 2 by 2. So I'm going to add the first row, first column on matrix A, plus the first row, first column on matrix B, and so forth. So it's going to be 8 plus 0, then 0 plus 10, -20 plus 20, and -12 plus -30. So they will give us 8, 10, 0, and -42. So this is my solution that they're looking for part C. Okay, now multiplying matrices. A is a 2 by 3 matrix, and B is a 2 by 2 matrix. In order to multiply matrix, right, the two numbers in the middle must be the same. For example, here, guys, we cannot multiply matrix A times matrix B, right, because the 3 and the 2, they have to be the same. But if we multiply B times A, you see the two numbers here in the middle are going to be the same, so that means it can be done. Right? Yes, it's a match, so it can be done. And my solution will be the outer numbers, which will be a 2 by 3 will be my solution. Okay, so how do we start it? Let's do it then. Step 1, right, so I'm going to put matrix B, the 1, 0 for -2. And then I'm going to put matrix A. Hey, guys, I have to multiply every row in the first matrix times every row, every column in the second matrix. So it's going to be 1 times 2 plus 0 times 4. They'll give us 2 plus 0. The answer will be 2. So that goes in the slot here. Now let's do step 2. Right, so now, again, we're going to multiply the first row times now the second column, which will be in red, right? Because I have to multiply the first row times every column. I already multiplied it times the first column. Now I need to multiply it times the second column. 1 times 0 will give us, right? And then 0 times -2. It will give us 0 plus 0 will give us 0. So the 0 goes on the second slot here on the solution. Now step 3. Again, same row times now the last column, which will be the 5, -3 in red. So 1 times 5 is going to be 5. 0 times -3 will give us 0. So it'll be 5 plus 0 will give us 5. So the 5 goes on the first row, third column. Right, since we're done right with the first row times every column, now we're going to multiply every column by row number 2, which will be in blue here. So again, I repeat the process as step 1 and continue as we did earlier. So 4 times 2, -2 times 4. Right, we add them, it's going to be 8 plus -8 will give us 0. So 0 goes on the second row, first column. Now comes step 5. Right, so now we're going to multiply it times the second column in red. So 4 times 0 plus -2 times -2 will give us 0 plus 4. The answer will be 4. So the 4 goes on the second row, second column. And finally, right, we have to multiply by the last column here, which is in red. So 4 times 5 plus -2 times -3 will be 20 plus 6. The answer will be 26, and it goes on the second row, third column. So that's my solution. Okay, that's how you multiply matrices. Now, number 18, we're doing sets. Okay, it says use the given information to find the following. The U will be, this is my universal set. It's A, B, C, D, E, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And set X is going to be A, B, 1, 2, 3. And set Y will be B, D, 1, 3, 5. And Z will be B, 2, and 3. Now, I like to do this before the right because we have to find the complement of X and the complement of Y, which means the complement means not. I like to use the word not. Okay, so why is the complement of X equals to C, D, E, 4, 5? Because you go back to the original, to the universal set. So not A means not A, not B, not 1, not 2, not 3. So what's left? The C is left, so is the D, and the 4 and the 5. So the complement of X is going to be C, D, E, 4, 5. In similar fashion, right, this is my Y set. So not Y means, or the complement of Y means not B. So you scratch out the B on the universal set, not B, not D, not 1, 3, and 5. So what's left is going to be A, C, E, 2, and 4 is left. That's the complement of Y. Now Z, we just bring it down, right? So now let's do the A part. A part means X and Y, or X, this symbol means and or intersection. Or I like to say also, what do they have in common? Okay, for another understanding. So you're going to go to X and Y, right? So these two here, what do they have in common? They have in common a B, they have in common a 1, and they have in common a 3, right? And that's it. So that's the answer for X intersects Y, or X and X and Y. That's the proper vocabulary. Now union means or, okay? That means X union Y, or X or Y. How I tell my students is that you're going to write every element in X, which will be A, B, 1, 2, 3. And then that means that now you're going to go to Y. But you're going to put also the elements of Y, but if they're already there in the set, you don't repeat them. Okay, so we go to Y. Is a B already there? Yes, it is. So we don't put B again. Is a D there already? No, so we're going to put D. Is a 1 there? Yes, it is. Is a 3 in there? Yes, it is. Is a 5 there? No, it's not. So we're going to add the 5. So that's your solution for that one. A, B, 1, 2, 3, D, 5. Okay. And then you put them in alphabetical order and also from least to greatest integers. So for C part, the complement of X, right? We already got it here, the answer. So that's the answer for that one. Now for part D, complement of X intersects complement of Y, right? So let's go up here on the right. That means, what do they have in common? Do they have in common a C, right? So it's going to be C. How about a D? No D. How about E? Yes, E. And the 4. That'll be the answer. That's where they intersect, or what do they have in common? Same thing. Okay, now let's go to complement of X, which is over here on the right. Intersects Z. So what does complement of X and Z have in common? Does it have a C? No, they don't. A D? No. So there's nothing in common, right? So here is going to be the empty set, or these two means the same thing. These two symbols here, empty set, or like an O with a line through it. That means empty set. That means they don't have nothing in common. Okay, now for F, we have X union parentheses Y intersects Z, close parentheses. So for this one, we have to follow the order of operations, which means we have to do parentheses first. So we're going to go X, right? X union, what does Y and Z have in common? Right? Y intersects Z. What does Y and Z have in common? They have in common a B and a 3, right? And that's it. So then, right, then we go to the union, or I mean, it's called union, or it's called OR. Remember how we did it earlier? I'm going to put everything that's in X, right? You put everything in X, A, B, 1, 2, 3. Then you go to the other one, which is the intersection of Y and Z, which is B and 3, right? It's already in there, you don't put it again. For example, here, is a B there already? Yes, it is, so you don't write it again. Is a 3 in there already? Yes, it is, you don't write it again. So this is your solution, guys, for part F. Okay? Now, I believe I have like 3 or 4 more problems, guys, so we're going to go over like another 5-10 minutes. So let's see what we got here. So this is 60 people were contracted and responded to a movie survey. The following information was obtained. Okay? So here we're going to do a Venn diagram, right? So for part A, we have to use a Venn diagram to illustrate the survey's results. Let's do this, right? 60 people, so the union is 60. You see nobody else, but only the 60 people that responded to a movie survey. So I'm going to we have comedy, so I'm going to let C equals comedy, so this will be the C, the C set. Right, we have drama, so let D equal to dramas. Let that be my dramas, and science fiction, let S be the science fiction, that'll be my S. Okay, now, so how do we construct a Venn diagram? Hey students, the only way you can get this one right, if you start where they all intersect. Okay, what do they all have in common? And here it is. So the one in red is where you start. 6 people like comedies, dramas, and science fiction. So where all 3 sets intersect will be the one here, guys, right? Here in the middle. So that's the 6 goals, right? Start at the intersection of all 3 sets. So it's going to be right here. Okay, now you go to the second part. 13 people like comedies and dramas. So we're looking for C intersects D, right? So we're going to go to C and D. So this is, right? So this portion here is where this has to be 13, right? Where they intersect. We already have 6 here, right? So this has to be 7, because this must be 13, right? So 6 plus 7 will give me 13. Then we go to the next part, which is 10 people like comedies and science fiction, right? So comedies intersect science fiction is 10. So then, let's see, here's comedies and science fiction is this part here. So this is a part that we have to take into consideration. Right, so it's already 6, right? So this has to be 4. So 4 goes there because the intersection of C and S is 10. So this must be 10. Okay. Now we go to the 11 people like dramas and science fiction. So D intersects S must be 11, which is D, which will be this part here. This portion here is so it's going to be 11. So this has to be 5 here. That's where the 5 goes. Okay. Then C equals 26, right? So this whole set C is equal to 26. So 4 plus 6 plus 7 plus something must be 26, right? or you can subtract 26 minus 17, because 4 plus 6 plus 7 is 17, which will give us 9. Then it says that 21 people like drama, so D equals to 21. So we go to the set D. Here we have, this is 11. 11 plus 7 will give us 18. So 21 minus 18 will give us 3. Okay. Then finally, 25 people like science fiction. So it's equal to 25. So we got 4. So all this set here is 25. We got 4 plus 6 plus 5 is 10, 15. 25 minus 15 will give us 10. So that's my missing part. Now finally, right now, we have to find out what's in the outside of the sets. But it's inside the Venn diagram, right? So we have to find X. So how many people are not in C, D, or S? So we get the total, right? We get the total of all these, which is a 9 plus 7 plus 6 plus 4 plus 3 plus 5 plus 10, right? Equals to 44. And there were 60 total, so we subtract 44 minus 60, which will give us 16. So X equals to 16. Okay, now let's answer the questions. For A part, guys, this is the Venn diagram for part A. Now for part B, how many people surveyed like comedies, but neither dramas nor science fiction? Okay, so let's go to comedies. How many people like comedies, but not science fiction nor drama? So the answer will be 9, right? Because all these is comedies here, but they didn't like science fiction nor drama, so the answer is 9. Now for part C, how many people surveyed like dramas and science fiction, but not comedies? Okay, so let's go to dramas and science fiction, right? Dramas and science fiction will be these two here, right? But not comedies means not these right here. So the answer will be 10 plus 5 plus 3, the answer is 18. Or 3 plus 5 plus 10 is 18. So the answer for C is 18. Now for part D, how many people like none of the movies? The answer will be 16, right? Because 16 are not inside none of the sets. The answer is 16. That's how you work these type of problems. Okay, okay, now let me continue real quick. So this is going to be probabilities. A single playing card is drawn at random from the ordinary 52 dark deck. Find the probability of drawing a queen, right? So this is for the people that don't know how the cards look like. There's going to be 4 suits and a 52 deck of playing cards. These are called the clubs, which are 13, the spades, which are 13, the hearts are also 13, and diamonds are also 13, a total of 52. If you notice, there's 26 black cards and 26 red cards. Also, what are face cards? Face cards are the cards that have a face. These are called face cards. So there's 3 face cards for every suit. For example, there's three clubs, 3 spades, which is the king, the queen, and the jack. There's 3 face cards for the hearts and 3 for the diamonds. Okay. Okay, now let's do the answer for A. The probability. This is a formula, guys, right? The probability of the event is equal to the number of the event over the number in the sample space. The sample space will always be 52, right? Because there's 52 playing cards. So here we go. Probability of a queen. How many queens are there, right? For a queen, right? So there's 4 queens because there's 1 queen for each suit. That's why it's 4 over 52. And we simplify, it's going to be 1 over 13. For B part, a diamond. How many diamonds are there? There's 13 diamonds, right? And there's 52 in the sample space. So 13 over 52 will give us 1 over 4. A red card, right? There's 26 red cards over the sample space, which is 52. The answer will be 1/2. Now a face card or an ace. So how many face cards are there? Right? There's 12 face cards, right? Because there's 3 of each suit. And then plus how many aces? It's 4, right? Because there's 1 ace on each suit, so it's 4 over 52. So 12 plus 4 is 16 over 52. Then when simplify, so this is my solution, 4 over 13. Okay, now number 21. Suppose two fair dice are rolled. Find each of the given probabilities. The first die shows a 2. The result is 6 or 7. Okay. So for part A, right, this is going to be using the probability of A union B equals to the probability of A plus the probability of B minus the probability of A intersects B. So here, guys, we're going to let A represent the first die is 2. And let B represent the sum is 6 or 7. Okay, so let's see what we got here. So for the probability of A, right, I mean the sample space first, right, my sample space is 36 because there's 36 possible ways, right? There's 6 coming down and 6 across, so 6 times 6 is 36. Now, for event A, right, this is event A. The first die shows a 2, right? All these is a 2 at the beginning. So in red is event A. And event B is in blue, right? Because this, the sum is 6 for 11. See, for example, all these across, the sum is 6. And all these across here for the 7, all these are 7s. So now, so n of A is equal to 6, right? Because there's 6 where the first die is 2. And for n of B, right, the number of 6 or 7 will be 11 because if we add all these in blue, it's going to be 11. So it's going to be 6 over 36, right? Because n of A is 6 over 36 plus n of B will be, 11 over 36. Now, where does A and B intersect, right? So it's going to be these two is where they intersect, right? It's going to be 2 and 4 where they intersect or what they have in common, and also 2 to the 5. So it's going to be 2. So minus 2 over 36. It's going to give us 17 over 36. 17 over 36 minus 2 over 36 will give us 15 over 36. All we do is simplify, so the answer will be 5 over 12. That's the answer for A part. Now for B part, the sum is 11, or the second dash was a 5. Okay, so again, the sample space is 36. Again, the same formula. So we're going to let A represent the event that the sum is 11. So all these are going to be 11. Just these two here, right? 5 is 6 and 6 is 5. So n of A is 2. Then n of B is going to be the second die is a 5, right? So the second die will be this one's here, right? It's going to be all these right here. You see the second die is a 5. So it's going to be what equals to 6. Okay, now the intersection will just be here, right? So it's going to be 1, right? That's where they intersect. So just plug them into the formula. So it's going to be 2 over 36 plus 6 over 36 minus 1 over 36. The answer will be 7 over 36. So this is my solution. Okay. Now, let's do number 22. For many years, the state of California used 3 letters followed by 3 digits on its automobile license plates. This is going to be, right, also, how many ways can we write arrangements? Right, so this is my 26 letter, right? So this is 3 letters followed by 3 digits. So we know that there's 26 letters, right, in the alphabet, and 10 digits make all the numbers. So here, guys, they don't show you a restriction. So it's going to be 26, 26, 26, and 10, 10, and 10 because there's no restriction. So we multiply them out. So that's my answer, 17,576,000. Now for part B, when the state ran out of new numbers, the order was reversed. 3 digits followed by 3 letters. So these are my digits, followed by 3 letters. And again, there's no restriction. All I did was swap the letters with a digit. So it's going to be 10, 10, and 10, and 26, 26, 26. We multiply them out, and we get the same answer as part A. Now for part C. Several years ago, the number described in part B were also used up. The state then issued plates with 1 letter, followed by 3 digits, and 3 letters. Okay? So there's my letter that they added, followed by 3 digits, and followed by 3 letters. So how many letters make the alphabet? It's 26. It'll be 10, 10, 10, and 26, 26, 26. We multiply them all out. And the answer will be 456,176,000 possible arrangements. Okay, I think we're almost done. We need like, I think 2 more slides. Okay, now these are permutations and combinations. These are the clue words for permutations, and these are for combinations. For permutations, the order matters, and for combination, the order does not matter. Okay. Okay, it says number 23. A lottery game requires that you pick six different numbers from 1 through 99. If you pick all winning numbers, you will win $4 million. This is related to the lottery. I like to show these type of problems to my students just so they know that the odds against you for winning the lottery are really impossible, because there's too many ways that your order can be placed, and more likely you will not win the lottery because the odds are against you. But anyway, look at part A. How many ways are there to choose 6 numbers if order is not important? Okay, so it's going to be combination, right? So it's going to be 99 combination 6. So that's going to be your answer, guys. 1,120,429,256. Now for part B, right? If the order matters, it means it's going to be permutation. And again, you can plug this in the calculator or do it by hand. Here I just plugged in the calculator, guys, so it's going to be a lot more. Okay, so there's going to be 806 billion 781,064,320. Okay. And I believe this is the last problem for today. Okay, it says in exercise 59, if you pick 5 out of 6 numbers correctly, you win 5,000. In how many ways can you pick 5? Can you pick exactly 5 of the 6 winning numbers without regards to order? So this is going to be combination also. Okay. So here we go, right? 5 out of 6 is going to be 6 combination 5, because there's 6, because right, you pick 6 numbers, right? But to win the 5,000, you only have to match 5. So it's going to be 6 combination 5. Okay, but remember the lottery requires to pick 6 numbers from 99, right? So then, right, so if 6 numbers are chosen, right, so 6, so it's going to be 93 are left. And if you already picked 5 numbers, so you need to pick another one. So that's why this one's going to be 93 combination 1, right? And again, so it's going to be right, the 99 total. So right, these two, the first ones must equal to 99, and the second ones in the combination must equal to 6. Okay. I will just put them in the calculator, guys, and you get your answer. So 458. Okay. Okay, now this is the last problem. Again, this is the last slide. So this is how many arrangements can be chosen to pick 5 numbers out of 6. Okay, now a financial advisor offers 8 mutual funds in high risk category, 7 in the moderate risk category, and 10 in the low risk category. An investor decides to invest 3 high risk funds, 4 moderate risk funds, and 3 low risk funds. How many ways can the investor do this? Okay, here's my solution. So they are going to be combinations, right? So 8, right? 8 mutual funds in high risk category. And you want to get 3 right from the high risk. So it's going to be 8 combination 3. Then for the moderate risk, right? There's 7, and we want to get 4. So it's going to be 7 combination 4. And then lastly, for the low risk, right, there's 10, and we want to get 3, invest 3. So it'll be 10 combination 3. Now we multiply them out. So 8 combination 3 is 56. 7 combination 4 is 35. And 10 combination 3 is 120. So 120. So if we multiply them out, it's going to give us 235,200. And I believe this is the last slide. So this is how many ways they can select it, the funds. So anyway, guys, I want to thank you for staying the extra 30 minutes. And I know I went over by 30 minutes, but I believe it was important to cover most of the material so you guys can be prepared to take your exam. Okay. Any